Last night, Gary had such a good rant going about Mickey and the team. I decided to just start recording him. So hit the like button if you would and enjoy this rant.
There's a group of people, and I'm one of those people, that took more away from the Whipple press conference. I think it was about 2 weeks ago, when he kind of alluded to Mickey Joseph maybe not liking the aspects of being a head coach, that he misses the football part, the coaching, the hands-on and developing players part. And maybe I was reading too much into that. Maybe other people who think the same thing were doing the same thing. But if Mickey Joseph wants to be a position coach, recruit guys, have these relationship with players and develop the guys, and does not want to be a head coach, this game was a prime example of him saying that without saying that. When Casey Thompson went down and they put in Smothers, you're playing the best rushing defense in the conference. And you made it very, very clear every single time you were going to use your quarterback to run the ball. You gave them no thinking, no guessing what you're going to do. You lined up and you ran RPO style quarterback keepers every single time. He had one pass attempt for 1 yard. If you're playing a team like Illinois, you need to come in with Smothers. You need to drop back and run the exact same offense you would run with Casey Thompson. And when they put everybody in the box, they bracket or they double or they do whatever they're going to do with Palmer and let everybody else run man. You drop back, and when it spreads apart, you let him run and gouge that defense until they have to start keeping guys in the second level, or the safeties can't help bracket, and you got one-on-one matchups. I don't care that he's not as accurate and as good of a passer as Casey is, because neither is Purdy. So you don't give Smothers a chance to manipulate the defense that is stacking the box and shutting down the run before it even happens. You help them. You take a mobile quarterback and you don't make them guess whether or not he's going to run. You let them know he's going to run, and then they suffocate him before he can get anything going. You don't even pretend that you're going to threaten them with a passing game. And then in the second half, you come out with Purdy and you do the exact same thing with a guy who has no athleticism, who can't even run to the marginal amount that Casey does and can run. And you hang him out to dry. And by the way, he's not near as good of a passer as Casey is. And we saw how bad Casey was doing at the beginning. Casey missed guys that were wide open. He didn't attempt to throw to guys that were wide open. He lets the pressure get to him sometimes. He made a couple runs. There was a couple drop balls. I get all that. But I'm saying you can lose the football game and still look better and still coach better and still attempt to highlight your guys' skill sets that they have, especially keeping in mind how good the skill sets and team-wise skill set that you're playing, that you're facing. And they didn't do that. They didn't even acknowledge it. So, I mean, from that to the type of play calling, all through the fourth quarter, you're punting every single fourth down when you're down 2 possessions. Who gives a shit if you lose by 2 possessions or if you lose by 4 possessions? Show a little bit of balls. Show a little bit of fight. Try to go for it. If you don't get it, who gives a damn? Everybody thought that was a loss anyways at that point. Maybe you surprise some people, instill a little confidence in your team, and you convert a couple fourth downs. And now things either, and I'm not saying to come back and win the game. I'm saying to build a little bit of character and a little bit of fight in a team that seems to not have any on both sides of the ball. You know what I mean? So it's like you're going back to that Scott Frost shit where you're taking a knee at the end of the first half because, well, nothing's working, so we'll just get out of the half. Why? Why not give it a shot? What are you going to do? Turn the ball over again? Okay, you came out in the second half, turned the ball over how many times? That's all you've been doing all year long, even with your best guy who made it look like you had a shot in hell of winning. He turns the ball over 2 to 3 times a game. So have a little bit of fight, have a little bit of balls like, yeah, dude, you might knock me out, but I'm going to fight you until that happens. Have a little bit of that. Maybe start there and building up some culture. Maybe don't punt every fourth down when the game's out of hand. Go down swinging. Maybe don't give up at the end of first halves all the time. Maybe don't on third and longs run the ball for 2 yards just so that you can punt instead of actually trying to take a shot downfield with your receivers who are more than capable of converting plays. Maybe your line's not good enough for you to convert the play, but your skill players that everybody hyped up all offseason, they're good enough to do it. Give them a chance. But no, we're going to play conservative, even though we're getting our dick stomped on the ground. And then we're going to act like, well, we got in all the coach speak and all the other shit. Like at some point, the direction has to be moved to we're going to build a dirty, nasty, gritty, physical, grind it out and fight, tooth and nail style culture or not. But stop talking about it if you're not going to do it. You can't talk about how we need to be more physical and we need to battle harder than people and do this and that. And then you're calling punt plays and you're calling run the ball up the middle on 3rd and 16 or 17 or whatever it is so we can punt and get out of this drive. Take a knee at the end of the half so that we don't get beat up anymore before halftime. You can't say one thing and preach one thing and then act a different way. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the first game. I'm not saying Mickey Joseph isn't the guy and shouldn't be the guy. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that was the first game that is a very good argument for anyone who thinks Mickey Joseph isn't the guy. And it's a very good argument for people who took more out of that Whipple press conference like I did, that maybe he doesn't want to be a head coach. And that's not a knock on him. Maybe he really likes being a player's type of guy, developing and recruiting and getting relationship with these guys, because he's not going to be able to do it at the same level he's doing it from a position coach perspective that he would have to be at a head coach perspective. He's got it done in his contract where he gets to stay here. He can be the wide receiver coach. He can keep recruiting. He can keep developing, keep building relationships with these guys. And you can bring somebody else in who will establish and build more of a gritty culture, because that's what Nebraska's going to have to do. They're not going to go get Heisman candidates at all these skill positions, and they're not going to go get 1st and 2nd round draft pick offense and defensive linemen. They're going to have to go back to, and that's the other thing that people need to come to terms with. This isn't the 80s and 90s where there's a finite amount of really good teams in the league, and we happen to be one of them because we have better facilities and we develop guys to do things at the non-flashy positions that other schools aren't doing very well. Everybody's doing that now. So either those days are over or Tom Osborne was a unicorn that we're not ever getting again. But that's where I go back to, what do you do? What do you do as a program to fix all the flaws that are there? And especially when you put that in the tiny window that fans and boosters and everybody else are going to give that person, with their unrealistic expectations that Nebraska overnight needs to turn the corner and all of a sudden be a bowl team and then be a conference contender and then be a conference champion and then be playing in a playoff and competing for titles. Because it's not around the corner like everybody thinks it is.